allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Alderman Bowman.
Present.
Alderman Dahlman.
Present.
Alderman Milner.
Present.
Alderman Coburn.
Here.
Alderman Dickerson.
Here.
Alderman Long.
Here.
Alderman Stoll. Absent. Alderman Stafford.
Here.
Mayor Hassey.
Here, and we do have a quorum. We have no ceremonial matters tonight, so at this time I will open the floor to public participation. Anybody who has anything to bring before this board that is not on our agenda, please feel free to step forward. Seeing no one tonight, I will close public participation and we will move on to the approval of the minutes. First, the approval of the special meeting June 29th, 2015.
I forgot to put those in earlier, so that's
It's
why
all right.
I'm doing that now.
Better late than never.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion from Alderman Dickerson, second from Alderman Stafford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Minutes from the special meeting of December 21st, 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Stafford, second from Alderman Dickerson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Regular meeting, January 4th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Stafford and a second from Alderman Dickerson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. Moving on to our agenda items. Item A is appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission for Dorothy Young and Sean Manning. Both have submitted applications and are wanting to serve. I don't remember on the last one if we did them together or if we did them separate. Either or is fine with
Either
me.
or.
They've been done both ways, so.
I'm fine if we just want to do one approval. For a motion to approve.
I make a motion to
Nope.
open.
Did you have a question?
Do we have discussion?
Yeah, we can have a discussion, absolutely.
I guess I don't personally have anything against any of these people, but I've had the opportunity to kind of go through those applications, and I'm worried that we may be missing out on some talent that is in that pool of people.
From the applications that you had
Yes.
sent out today?
Well, I mean, I've seen them before, but yeah, we did get them received today, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, or what is, I also don't know what the process has been for these in the past, or what the process is supposed to be. We really don't see them until they show up here as far as to approve.
I guess my question too would be, we had probably 5 other applicants that had, from last May up until current, that were never even discussed as being applicants. And now the very last 2, we're just throwing them in there as those are the 2 we want. So, yeah, I would guess I'd have that concern too.
Mr. Mayor,
Qualifications are
can you use the
pretty strong.
mic so we can hear what they're saying?
Be sure you're using your mics, everyone.
Well, you can't get anybody more qualified than Dorothy Young. I mean, she served on this board for, I think, 3 times she's been elected to the Board of Alderman. Plus, she's also ran for mayor once. And if anybody knows the ins and outs about what's going on around here, she certainly is qualified.
I think John Foster might top that one.
You ever had public comment?
No, I don't think it's a requirement.
No, well, no, but I think her knowledge that she brings with her is
I have a comment to make. When the application of Kevin Wood was made known, I believe the mayor said at that time that it was time for some new people to serve, time for some new blood. And I think if that rationale holds, then that would be reason why we wouldn't consider somebody like Dorothy Young, who has indeed been an alderman previously and who has run for mayor before. If we want to get new people on, then I think that would be a reason why she would not be an appropriate candidate.
Well, in this case, Julie Zorn was the seat that was vacated. I was looking to replace the vacated seat with another woman, if at all possible. She is the only applicant that we have. So that kind of, jumped off the page that that's one of the replacements I need to make. And it's my understanding, the way this process works, you asked the question, it is the job that is designated to the mayor to make these appointments, and it falls to the board whether they approve them or disapprove them. And, any of these appointments that we make, I can remind everyone that if there's something that doesn't work out, we also have the ability to remove people from these boards if there's something that doesn't work out. But that is how the process is set up. It says in there, the mayor makes the appointments and the board approves or disapproves.
And I respect that, Mr. Mayor. I just think that we have 3 other open applications in former Mayor Wood and Mr. Foster and Mr. Zaror that I know a lot of us would appreciate that those people might be reconsidered.
Well, like I said, I consider each of the applicants, and I have my reasons for selecting who I select and who I don't select, and those are for me to select. That's what's granted to me by that was granted by the voters, and I mean, I have my, like I said, I have my reasons for who I choose, and like I said, in this case, I was looking for someone to take Julie's place, and Dorothy is the one that's on there that can do that, and the other gentleman is new to town, new face, fresh idea. I thought that would be a good choice. This is, I believe, Rusty Bennett's seat. His expired. He actually moved to Braintree, so he was not available for reappointment if he was interested. So I'm looking to replace somebody, again, fresh ideas and all that. So.
But this one was also the gentleman that we had complaints from about neighbors who was not keeping his properties up, that I addressed that last time his name came up.
That's all I have here. They're here. I look for a motion.
I make a motion that we vote on both at the same time.
For a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson, and a second from Alderman Long. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
No.
Nay. Okay, I'm gonna take a roll call then
Sure.
for the yays.
You want a hand raise?
That's fine too.
Okay.
Okay, for the yays, the
The yeas, raise your hand if you're a yay.
and the nays.
All right, moving on. Council Bill 006.
Council Bill 006 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of Harrisonville, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to sign a letter of understanding for city administrator recruitment services with Austin Peters Group.
It's actually second reading, we changed, that's the one we changed.
Oh,
last
sorry.
time.
Second reading of Council Bill 006. My apologies.
That's all right.
This is second reading of this, it was changed to an ordinance which at the last meeting, and so that's why it's up here for second reading. At the time that it was voted on last time at first reading, it was stated that there were some questions or some things that they wanted to get hashed out, and so I asked for that, any of those questions or changes or anything to be delivered. And I received information from 2 of the people on the board. Alderman Dickerson requested that it be amended by deleting the
Focus group.
Focus group.
yeah, the focus group paragraph, basically. And Mayor Hassick had a series of changes that he was recommending, which also included the deletion of that. So you have in front of you or on your table right now kind of a red line version, which is off of the notes that Mayor Hassick provided me, but it also includes part of it's the same thing that Alderman Dickerson had, so right now, the ordinance sits as it was considered last time and presented, and then this would be, the red line version you have in front of you would be a change that I think the mayor would ask someone to propose an amendment to, and I suppose you wanted to talk about that some.
Yeah, the changes made were, I didn't realize this at the last meeting, looking at this, that this letter needs to really needs to reflect the process that I had in mind for getting the candidates. Pretty much the only thing that well, besides talking about the focus group, which we discussed, we had talked to employees. Having a committee is, the purpose of the committee is to conduct the actual initial interviews with the candidates, much like we did when we hired Marcella. The aldermen are still included in all phases of this. They simply would not be asking the initial questions at those interviews, but we would still select a pool of 5 to 7 candidates, and those final pool would be brought before the board, and the board would get to ask questions as a full board. We would get to, it was suggested doing a city tour, meeting some of the employees. I don't know about the having the refreshments and all that portion of it. I don't remember if I crossed that piece out. But anyway, having the initial interviews with a committee of 4 aldermen and 2 staff members. I'd like to have staff involved to get their input throughout the interviews, so we know what they think about the candidate that has come before, so we can get a good pool of 5 to 7 people that we can then look at.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Number one, why did we, and Steve, Mr. Maurer, this may be a legal question for you. Why and how was this changed from a resolution to an ordinance?
That was my doing, my fault. At the meeting last time, the mayor asked me, I think it was on the fly, and I have already apologized to Kim if we could read it as an ordinance. And we can. I mean, the board can decide how it wants to conduct its business. Traditionally, we have done items like this when they're already budgeted and they're not going to change the code, then we do that by resolution. And so it would be perfectly appropriate to approve it by resolution, because typically what we do is the lowest review possible. So for example, when the chief needs a parade permit, okay, we just do that by all in favor. We don't even have to have a resolution. And when it's something that needs more than that, then we do it by resolution. And we only use ordinances typically when either we're changing an ordinance, so because you have to, or it's a contract that the other party wants to be by ordinance. For example, MoDOT, when we do a contract with MoDOT, MoDOT requires an ordinance. And so then we would do an ordinance for those. But otherwise, unless it's changing the existing code or adding to the existing code, we would do these things by resolution. So there's no prohibition from doing it as an ordinance, just it wasn't typically what we do. And the mayor asked if we could, so I did. And I apologized to Kim already about that. I should have checked with her first. So, but that's how it happened. But if you want to pass it as a resolution, you can. You can pass it as an ordinance. Either way, the Austin Peters Group, to my knowledge, has not said, I'll only take it by ordinance. So you can handle it however you want.
So to get it back to a resolution, we do what?
Just move to approve it as a resolution.
Okay, so that's what I would do would be. Now, let me ask one other question.
We're not going
Has
to move to
Austin
approve
Peters, have they viewed the changes in this contract? And are they in agreement with all these?
Austin Peters has expressed that we are, what's the term you use, Mike, we're the boss. They're willing to do what it is we want done.
I did contact them about deleting the stakeholder focus group, because that was the first item that came to me, and that was discussed at the last board meeting, sort of around the table, but not during the actual meeting itself. And they said, that's no problem. I don't know that the mayor has contacted them about his proposed changes. I have not. These came in later, and so I haven't spoken with them about the substitution of a hiring committee for the full board of aldermen. that seems to be the most
Yeah.
significant one.
I guess that would be my question, or will they agree to these terms?
Well,
Would have to be my question.
we didn't have a board of, this group when we hired.
Oh, the focus group, yeah, no,
And the reason why I think it's important that because it's gonna take longer to get
sure,
someone.
absolutely.
And Mike is on his 4th month
Yep.
of doing it, of being here. And I think we need to try to, and that's why I want
And
to
move
take it
forward.
out, because
Yeah.
I mean, this could just turn into a back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's why I think that
Well, then I
should be
think-
omitted from.
Yeah,
That was my reason.
I think the
Yeah.
committee getting 4 to 5 people together to ask those initial questions is much easier than getting 9 people lined up. And like I say, it will get through the initial, everybody gets the initial screening, everybody gets the resumes. It's not one group is getting this, everybody gets that. That's just who will ask the initial interview questions and get some feedback, and then we will bring that group, we can weed out the ones that we don't think we want to bring before, and then we will meet the selected candidates, the 5, like I say, I like that 5 to 7, we hope we get that kind of interest.
Anybody that has questions that would be in that group, they could tell you what they want.
sure.
Yeah.
I just think with a position like this, that we're, this is someone who's going to basically run our city for us. I think as a group of 8, I think we would all like to be able to sit in on those, not that we're all going to make it to those meetings, but I think being able to be involved in that would be
Oh, you
on
can,
my priority, as well as, I don't know who else is sitting here, but, if it's on a night where I can certainly attend, I definitely want to have
oh, yeah, you,
that be, and I don't want to be eliminated
you
from that
all are
group
not,
of
yeah,
people.
you all are not blocked out of being in there or anything like that.
And I
mean,
don't
it's a-
want my voice not to be heard during those meetings also, and have a say of yes or no. So I think I would rather see it stay as the selected group of 8. Whoever can come those nights where the majority, if people can come, then that's when we need to meet and everybody's voice be heard. So,
I think minimum, each one from each ward, each ward be represented as well.
I'd like to see all of us have the opportunity to
4
do it,
Alderman, there's 4 wards.
so. But, I don't know really if we have to delay. I'd like to see this move through as a resolution. I'd like to go ahead and see that.
We've already
Steve,
had it.
however we do that.
I believe we've had the first reading, we need to have we had it as an ordinance, it needs to go through a second, and since we've had it on as a first.
We read it as an ordinance, you could vote on it as an ordinance, or you could table it, and we could bring it back next meeting as a resolution. It's already been read as an ordinance. You could, you could vote on it, you'd have to.
We have to vote for the amended changes, and then we
Yeah.
have to vote,
You
then we have to have the second reading, whether it's amended or, if we vote on the amended version, it's approved, then we would second reading as amended, correct?
We could do it that way.
And if not, it would be a second reading with the way it's written.
Correct. The second reading has already occurred. If there is a motion to amend the contract, then, and that motion passes, then we could have a new second reading as amended.
Right.
Okay.
Well, then
Yeah.
maybe I guess I'd rather see it just tabled so that we can get all the confusion out of the way. And especially since when it went on as first reading, it was as a resolution, and that's what was published for the residents to see and some, out there in the public. And now we're pulling it and doing it as an ordinance, which, yeah. So I'd like to see it tabled and reworked. I'd like to make a motion to table.
Well, I'll second that motion.
Good?
No discussion here?
No, go ahead.
Actually, a motion to table, under Robert's rules, a motion's made and seconded, then that preempts everything else, so then you gotta vote on the motion to table. So, sorry, but I don't mean to step on your
You're
moment.
good, I don't want to do it wrong.
But a motion to table.
If they want
it happens.
discussion, can they withdraw the motion and then have the discussion?
Could do
correct?
that, could do that.
So if he wants to have discussion, you would have to withdraw your motion right now for him to
Sure.
discussion.
I will, pardon me. I will withdraw so Josh can have discussion.
Thank you.
If we go the route of, sorry,
Do I need a second for that motion to withdraw?
The second should withdraw as well.
Yeah.
I will withdraw for discussion.
Thank you.
I mean, in all honesty, just, I don't think there's anything, we have a lot of trust issues in our group, so I think we've got some concern about what's going on. So one of my questions is gonna be, if we decide to go the route of hiring committee, what will the makeup of that committee be, and who will select the members of that committee? How do we get to that point?
The committee would be selected by me, and like I said, it would consist of 4 aldermen and 2 employees.
Okay. Now, in all honesty, I don't know that I've got a problem with that, but my recommendation would be, and I would probably be inclined to vote this way, if we're gonna go that route, so that everyone's on the same page and we don't feel like there's anything going on, nobody should be, I would recommend we stick with the full 8. Because I don't think we're in a place that everyone sitting here is going to be okay with that scenario. And honestly, we've got to find somebody, but we've got to find the right person. And so I'd like to get moving, but we need everybody here bought in. So if we can't come to terms on a, hiring committee that makes sense for everyone here, then we need to go the route of everybody being, at those meetings and, try to make every one of them you can, but I'm probably okay with going the other way, but I'm concerned that not everybody here is gonna be bought in, and if we don't get everybody bought in, we're gonna continue down the same path of having more issues, and I don't wanna see that happen.
Good point. You done with discussion?
Yeah, I'm finished unless anybody else got anything.
And I'm okay with not the focus group outside, not having that, I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
But I do think it's important that if all of us want to be there to attend a meeting, we should be able to, and give our input and.
Well, and I guess then I would still have a question to Steve. To move forward with this as the resolution that it started out as. Do we table this and then put it back on the agenda as a resolution for next time?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so. I mean, you could table it and then basically bring it back again without the paragraph that you talked about deleting, and have one clean contract then.
Okay. So I then will make another recommendation to table, to take back to work committee, deleting David's stakeholder, but bring it back as a resolution. That's my.
I still think it needs to have the second reading. I don't see how, if you've had a first, you need to have one.
Judy?
How do you?
I second the motion.
We had a second. We had a second reading.
But we hadn't voted on the second reading, correct?
Correct. I understand that,
Correct.
but a motion to table would
Overwrite that.
Table.
override a motion.
Okay, a motion to table only moves it to the end of the meeting now.
No.
No, it moves it until the board votes to bring it back to the
What I
agenda.
read, the way I had read motion to table was it moved it to the end of the meeting. It had to be dealt with at that meeting. If there's another motion, a motion to postpone is the one that moves it out of the actual meeting. Motion to table, yes, take precedence, but it must be dealt with before that meeting is over.
I can go get my book.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that's how the,
I tell you what, Kim, I tell you what, maybe we could just do it this way. Would be a motion to table and postpone? Because if that's your motion and second, then I think I'm assuming that's what you want to do. By the
Yes.
contents of your motion, you want to move it off so the contract gets cleaned up the way.
Yes,
Okay.
that was my intent, yes.
Okay, that's
So-
what I understood, so.
Do I
a
need to
motion
read that?
Table,
A
well, I
motion
think
to
it would
table.
satisfy everything if we do a motion to table and
And
postpone.
postpone.
Okay.
Okay.
How about voting on that too?
And Judy, do you second that?
Yes, I do.
is that,
Well, I would really like for all
What does that
computers
mean?
to see this,
But that- well,
to make
then it
sure
just
that they
needs
don't have any issues.
You could do a roll call if you want,
uh,
you know. I don't know that it needs a roll call, but it probably wouldn't hurt to have it in the record then.
go ahead and do a roll call.
Okay. Alderman Bowman?
And clarify for me, Kim, we're voting to table, is that correct?
If the
Postpone.
motion,
To table and postpone?
motion to table and postpone, to revise the contract again
And take it back to the ordinance, or to the?
and take it back to a resolution, and we're okay with the stakeholder portion
Absolutely.
being out.
That's what you could have done. No, I agree.
So Judy,
Steve,
you guys, oh,
Hang on.
ask you a question, or?
Sure, sure, I'm sorry, I just,
Is there any precedence for suspending the Robert's rules and just having a conversation?
you can conduct your rules however you want.
I mean, if we could move forward with this tonight, back to the resolution.
You hear me, Brian, by chance?
What, do
Would you be okay with kind of suspending our rules and having a conversation and trying to find a solution to this tonight?
Well, if you have you have it as an amended, you have to vote on the amended. If it's not, you don't pass the amendment, you would then have a vote on the ordinance. If you don't get 5 votes for the ordinance, it dies, because you need 5 officials to pass it. So it would then be off of this agenda for tonight. I mean, it'd be the same, in essence, the same as if it was suspended or postponed. If it would be brought back, correct?
Yes, the only problem might be is that you can't vote something down and then bring it back in the same fashion.
You
Now,
can bring it back without that paragraph
I
on
was
the
gonna say,
focus.
perhaps we're okay with, if you voted the
You bring-
way it is, and then you bring it back without the paragraph A, I mean, I think you're accomplished, you would get to the same place, assuming it doesn't pass, but you're still not getting it done tonight. I mean,
No.
if you vote on it this way and it fails, then, you know,
So could we, if we wanted to suspend, have a conversation, could we vote it down tonight and then pass a resolution instead of an ordinance tonight with our correct terms, or do we have to be published beforehand?
It's not published.
yeah, you're not on the agenda
Okay.
to do that way.
Just making sure.
So, I think your options are, at the moment, are either to approve it as it was at the two meetings ago, approve it as the proposed changes that you've discussed, or kick it to 2 weeks from now.
So,
Let me
I was
ask you a
gonna say,
question.
let's clear, yeah.
Well, okay, what about, okay, so we're arguing, I guess, I don't know what we're arguing about actually. It's about the committee, the hiring committee, is that, you guys are afraid that you're not, all 8 of them aren't in, is that what we're arguing about?
I just,
I mean,
my
no,
opinion
honestly,
is
I
all
mean,
8
I
of
don't
us
know
need
what
to
we're
be.
doing here.
Well, that's
But
what
it also
Josh
needs
said.
to be as a resolution,
Okay.
back to the original.
Well, no, I
resolution.
mean, wait, what difference does it make whether it's a resolution or ordinance?
Makes a lot of
I think that the bottom line here is you want 8 instead of the 4 committee, on the hiring committee, right?
No, that's not exactly true. We are requesting reconsideration for 2 things. We would prefer that extending the contract to Austin Peters be approved by resolution, not by ordinance. And we are asking for reconsideration to include all 8 aldermen in the hiring, in the interviewing process for the city administrator candidate. To have 4 aldermen is not adequate for us.
Well, I understand that, that's
Right.
all I'm saying.
So we're asking for
So,
2.
why don't we just say that the hiring committee, since I don't see anything in here that said 4, we could just say the hiring committee is 8, and just go ahead and pass this, because it doesn't make any difference whether it's a resolution or an ordinance. It's gonna, we want to get this done so Mike can take his retirement. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
It could be just 8, what just?
if we come up with the amended version, it gets amended,
Yeah.
and we say the amended version, we're fine with that, you would vote to do the amended version, which would be, we'll chicken scratch this. You then vote on the second reading, it passes by ordinance, and then that's what we go with. It's passed tonight, it's not passed at the next meeting, it's passed tonight.
Well, what you-
But I don't want it by ordinance, I want it back to
I know, but I mean,
resolution.
if it passes.
If it passes and it's signed,
I'll be honest with you, personally, I can live with an ordinance.
it's passed and signed, it's the same as, it goes into
Well,
effect.
just that's all the difference, and that's already been, we've already voted on it ordinance once, why do we have to change that?
If I could intercede, I think the change that's been agreed to, that would accomplish everything, is if we just read it as amended, and we just take out paragraph A. because that's the paragraph about the focus group that everyone agreed to. Everything else would stay the same, so you've got all of the board being involved, and so there's no discussion of the hiring committee. And the board can choose how it wants to proceed with Austin Peters. It doesn't have to be part of the contract. So if you want to have a smaller group or do something else, you certainly can do that. But it wouldn't be required by the contract.
And we could do that tonight.
Yeah, and then we could just amend it, make a motion to amend it by taking out the paragraph A, and then going forward as, reading it as amended, and then voting to approve it.
Now, the timetable on the back will change a little, of course, I mean, but that's just semantics, so that would be, someone would need to make that
Would be a motion
to remove that, to amend it.
Yeah.
That would be the amended version that they would make a motion.
Don't we already have a motion on the floor to
Yeah.
table and suspend?
We
They could, yeah, they would have to.
Okay,
We gotta
I
vote
have-
on that.
but I have one more question, and I would like clarification on this. Why did you change it from a resolution to an ordinance? No, I'm asking the mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I thought you were asking.
Resolutions require that you have a majority of the members present. A resolution has the possibility of only 3 board members passing something. An ordinance requires 5. So if you have 5 members present, say you have 3 absent, and say that was the case tonight, and we were approving a large expenditure, say something that was $1 million that we were going to do, and we were doing it by resolution, 3 aldermen could decide to spend $1 million of the city's money.
But
And I
we're
don't-
talking about a simple contract with a hiring consulting firm.
And it is the use of money, and I have read, and it is, a resolution is a statement of opinion or intent, whereas an ordinance is actually the way you set policy. And
It is
I pulled-
enforceable law, a rule, or a statute.
Correct.
An ordinance. This is a
Correct.
simple hiring. It's no different from the resolutions that we're gonna go on to approve with the vehicles. It's the same basic thing.
Those should really be, I mean, in my opinion, those should be an ordinance because you are spending the funds.
But it's in the budget.
It's in the
It's
budget.
already been approved by ordinance.
Correct, it was yes, but a budget is not a mandate to spend. All you're saying is you're approving of setting those funds aside. When it comes time, you still have to, but otherwise, why would you have to have any vote at all when it comes time to replace that? If you voted for it in the budget, the departments could just take everything that's in the budget and run with it, if you were saying that's how it's approved.
But an ordinance makes it a law. No, but, then.
An ordinance makes it a
Then
law.
we, whatever we have approved, they have to follow, abide by what we approve by ordinance. A resolution is different.
It's a vote of the board.
Yeah, but I mean, if they
We
don't
still have to abide by it.
Huh?
We still have to abide by the resolutions. That's what the staff is here for, is to carry out what the board has voted on.
Whether
It doesn't
it's a
matter if
motion
it's
or a resolution or an ordinance,
But the resolution is the law, is that right?
that is correct.
Mr. Mallon?
What about is, like, whenever, our old
And-
administrator changed in the budget from $40,000 salary to a $30,000 salary, that was voted in as a resolution, right?
No.
If that was voted in as an ordinance, he couldn't have changed that, right?
That wasn't voted in.
No, that was
As a
presented to you,
resolution.
it was changed before it was presented to you, and you approved it by ordinance.
No,
That's a different situation.
But I'm
Yeah.
just, that's what I was
Well-
assuming they was going by, that's what I was.
Yeah. Well, whichever way, I don't care. We just need to.
We can
We
approve
just
this,
need to move.
we can approve this tonight and not have
Pardon?
to delay to another meeting. If we make the amendment that we were discussing, we vote the second reading,
Correct.
and then it gets.
I think we need
Okay,
to vote on.
First thing is we need to make a motion to withdraw the table, or vote on the table and have it, and that could fail, but that's the pending motion, is the motion to table.
I guess my only other concern is the fact that if we move it through as an ordinance, that also gives the mayor veto power, and we know we're going with that so far.
I will, what you decide tonight is what I will sign. You have me on tape saying that.
Okay, so that we can move forward with this and get this company hired to get
So we need to
Mike's replacement moving forward.
We need to
I
withdraw
will
this.
withdraw the table.
Judy, Alderman Bowman, you need to withdraw your second, correct?
I will, but I have a question.
Sure.
My question is, In 2008, when we hired Mr. Moody, we did that by resolution. And we agreed in the resolution to spend $12,000 to extend the contract to Art Davis. If we approved the hiring of that city administrator in 2008 by resolution, then Mr. Maurer or Mr. Tholen, please advise me why we cannot extend the contract for the hiring of this city administrator by resolution.
You or me? Me?
We can both, either.
The answer is you could. The board can choose how it wants to do its business. There are certain things that you must do by ordinance. And this is not one of them. You don't have to do this by ordinance. It's the board's choice. If you choose to pass it by ordinance, you certainly can. It's just a higher level of authority than Harrisonville has traditionally used. I mean, I go back almost 20 years. Actually, next month will be 20 years for me. And Harrisonville traditionally has used the lowest level of approval as necessary. And that's why when we need a parade permit, we can just, everybody say, okay. I mean, theoretically, we're spending city funds in that instance too, because we're directing staff to be there to do things. So it's just whatever level of authority the board is comfortable with giving. So in 2008, it was perfectly appropriate. If you want to do it by ordinance, that's perfectly appropriate. If you want to do it by resolution, that's appropriate too. Is that a good enough answer for you?
That's a good enough answer. I guess my concern is if we move to doing everything by ordinance, our code book is going to be this big.
That's why we traditionally don't do those things. That's because technically when you adopt an ordinance, then it's added to your code book.
Right.
So she withdrew
I will
hers,
withdraw
so
my motion to table.
did you?
Now, do we need to put in there about David's paragraph?
We do that after the
Yeah.
withdrawal, then we have the motion for the amended. So Judy, you withdrew your second, correct?
I will withdraw my second,
Okay.
assuming that you hold true to your word and you sign what's passed tonight.
I have no intention of going against my word.
Okay, so then we need a motion to amend the contract to eliminate paragraph,
Okay.
subparagraph A.
I just had a motion
We need to
to
vote.
withdraw and a second to withdraw. Now I need,
That's not a motion.
That's just they're withdrawing their
Withdrawing,
motion.
okay.
There's no
So
pending
those,
motion.
yeah, so those
Okay.
motions are gone.
Correct. So those motions are gone. So what we're back to is the second reading of the contract, and we're going to amend it by eliminating subparagraph A, which it begins with conduct stakeholder focus group. So we're going to if someone will make a motion to eliminate that paragraph, and that paragraph only, from the proposed contract with Austin
So
Peters.
moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
All right, well,
All right.
I had a motion from Alderman Coburn and a second from Alderman Milner to amend the contract.
Discussion.
Oh, you had discussion?
Boy, he's still there.
I know, I just,
No.
we all know this is painful, and I don't want us to go through it again. I just have one minor thing we might want to look at. And Brian, please don't take offense to this when I say it this way, but I want us to build some trust here.
Sure.
So I think it's page 5, if I'm looking at that, it goes back to where, it basically says, we crossed out, it said the mayor will negotiate instead of us, as a group selecting somebody.
We're only talking about the motion, the original item that's in your agenda, not the red line version.
Correct. The only change to the contract will be as it was presented last week,
Okay.
with this one paragraph eliminated.
So everything else is gone, and we're
Everything else
just,
in red line is not being considered.
easy enough, that already eliminates our problem.
Okay, what's next, Steve?
We had Alderman Coburn
Yes.
made the motion, you made the second. Do we need a roll call?
If Kim wants a roll call, you can have.
Would you like a roll call? I
I-
don't think anybody's opposed here, but I would be glad to do a roll call.
we'll just do a roll call.
All right.
Okay, Alderman Bowman,
Aye.
Alderman Dahlman,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Coburn,
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson,
Aye.
Alderman Long,
Aye.
Alderman Stoll, absent, Alderman Stafford.
Aye.
Now we need second reading of Council Bill 006, an ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of Harrisonville, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to sign a letter of understanding with City Administrator Recruitment Services with the Austin Peters Group, second reading of Council Bill 006 as amended.
Okay. Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson.
Aye.
Alderman Long.
Aye.
Alderman Stafford.
Aye.
Alderman Bowman.
Aye.
Alderman Coburn.
Aye.
Alderman Stoll, absent. Alderman Dahlman.
Aye.
And Council Bill 006 becomes ordinance 03349. Council Bill 007.
Council Bill 007 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Westfall GMC for the replacement of a motor and drivetrain and Medic 2 ambulance in an amount not to exceed $22,808.52.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Tonight before you to request funds to replace the motor that's in one of our 2009 Type 3 ambulance. It's pretty much been a very stable ambulance since it's a 2009. They've done a lot of changes between the 2004s that we have and the 2009. So this unit has 228,000 miles on it. So it's about that time. We could just do the motor, but since the motor's out, they might as well just do the transmission at the same time. And this should give us another good couple years out of life out of this particular unit.
This was our best of the three, correct? I mean, I know it's down right now, but it was our best of our three. This was the newer,
It's the
less,
2009, yes.
has the less wear and tear of all the ones that we've had.
It's held up better than the way
I like that.
It hasn't had some suspension issues like some of the others have been having. It seems that it's held up a little better.
Yeah, that was the big difference between the 2004s and the 2009s, is that the 2004s were the first ones. If I remember right, I believe that I was told that we were like the fourth or fifth customer to get this particular chassis. They were designed to go more miles, but the first ones didn't work out, so they made a lot of work on the newer ones, the 2009, made a lot of improvements, and so it's holding up a lot better. So, and with these type of units, there's a lot of electronics, and that's where we're going to have a lot of our issues is with electronics. So, this one here has been holding up very well in that respect. It just needs something a little bit faster getting us down the road, and a little bit more reliable. So, I think the major that we need would be the engine and the transmission of this particular unit.
I'd make them.
So, let's say any discussion first. Questions?
Make a motion to
Second.
A motion from Alderman Milner, a second from Alderman Dickerson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 007 becomes Resolution R005. Council Bill 008.
Council Bill 008 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Feld Fire for the purchase of one 2016 Ford F-450 Type 1 ambulance for the Harrisonville Emergency Services not to exceed $155,837.
This proposal here is that in December of last year, we went out for bid for a 2016 purchase of this budget year. Approval in the budget was approved for $150,000 in our budget. There have been the bids came in. The cheapest bid that we saw was $163,000. There's been a lot of changes within that, and then it shows about, talks about the different types of improvements that have been made to the safety of the patient in the back with the cot restraint system. We've been using this cot restraint system, big words, since 2004. Fortunately, we didn't have a patient in the back when our ambulance rolled on December 28th. It actually protected the cot. It did what it was supposed to do. So if there would have been a patient on there, they would have a lot better chance of surviving that rollover. So that was some of the changes that made the price go up a little bit. Feld Fire introduced an alternate bid where they have a demo unit that they would sell us at $155, and that would include the graphics. And what a demo unit is that these companies, they will buy a demo unit that they will take around to the different departments and show them this is what our product is, so that way people will put their hands on it and drive it, and to see how well it, they feel it would perform. This particular unit is still on the production floor. It hasn't even gotten any miles on it. The only miles that it would be driving it up from Ocala, Florida. So it would be new. There are other sales folks that have demo units, but they've been out driving around and have miles on them. We feel that this would be a better purchase to buy this demo unit. It's just a little bit out of budget.
Does it have a full warranty?
Yes, it comes with full warranty, just like brand, well, it's brand new.
Is the box in the back equipped with everything we need?
That's what I was.
Yes, sir. We will look through this, through the process of going out to bids. We're looking at what we currently have, and they're pretty much fairly standard, the patient care compartments. It fits everything that what we need to do. It's, you know, it's basically the same as what we have in place now.
And we won't have to add anything, you don't think, else to it? Everything you all need, it'll be already equipped with.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bells and whistles. We don't ever buy anything with a lot of that, but it will suit our needs very well.
Is this your diesel truck a good engine? I know Ford had trouble with some of their something in the past. What is it?
The 6.0s, these are a little bit different. Instead of having the van style front, which is that type 3 chassis, what we have now, this would be a type 1, which will have a pickup front to it. This will also allow us to mount this ambulance after a period of time, and it'll be a lot cheaper as well. So it's just a matter of picking up the box, driving the old chassis out, driving a new one in, plug it in, and away we go.
Now, is this also, I read it's 4-wheel drive,
Yes,
so that's something we don't have now, right?
that's correct.
I was gonna ask, do we know what what has the insurance deemed the ambulance that flipped over was worth? Do we have anything on that? I mean, I know on this it didn't call for a trade-in per se of any of our other units to that, but that is, I guess that's kind of like a trade-in we're getting, supposed to be.
We'll be getting the settlement back on our ambulance, which had over 300,000 miles on it. Our net will be 17 something or other $1,000. Bringing, if we did this recommended demo unit purchase, it'd make the net outgo from the city a little under 140,000, and our budget was 150.
So with the ambulance rolling and that money, we're actually we would be under budget. Correct. That's what I was. But.
I'm very gracious to get us 17,000.
Now, my father.
Good thing there's an empty seat in there.
And the other thing too, with it being a pickup front, is that we would be able to get it serviced locally as well. Our other chassis, there were no other GMC dealers that were close enough that would be willing to work on those bigger chassis, so they always had to go up to Westfall. I think we own part of Westfall. But I've been there, but, you know, it's kind of, being able to service locally is gonna be another advantage for us as well.
I don't know if you need any other information, but this is also the fastest way to get a unit back to the stable.
I'm sorry, it should, thanks for letting me bring that up. Since this is on the production floor now, so they're in the process of building it right now, they would have it delivered by the end of February.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, a couple of the bidders, they would be June or July, there's one even would be in October before we'd be able to see it. So, in the condition that we are in now, we're down to 2 units. It's good to have that be here as soon as we can get it here.
Have we had to turn down business out to the hospital because of only 2 ambulances?
One of the things that we do, we'd like to think that our slogan says it all, that we got you covered. We had one of our Medic 1 that's been in the shop. We've got some great friends up in Pleasant Hill I went up there and asked them, said, can you help me out for a week? And they graciously give us a ambulance for a week while this thing was in the shop. So, and that's what we do with all of our partners in the community, in the county. So they have graciously helped us out tremendously by allowing us to do that.
Well, I know the cost to replace this is far less than the cost if somebody was to, we had an issue with it breaking down and somebody in it and then not making it to the hospital. That's not something anybody wants to have on their conscience, so I think this is definitely money well spent. These units, especially the one that we're replacing, is, we've got the most of what we could get out of that, I would say. So,
I'm gracious to get what we got.
that's very good, very good. No further questions? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Bowman, second from Alderman Dahlman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 008 becomes Resolution R006. Council Bill 009.
Council Bill 009 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Max Ford for the purchase of one police interceptor SUV in an amount not to exceed $28,007.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Aldermen. Before you is the purchase for 2016 of our patrol vehicle. Will be just one. The 2016 City of Harrisonville budget contains $34,680 for the purchase of this patrol vehicle. It will be a replacement. We reached out and got the state bid, which is $27,585.50, which is from Luke Foos Ford in Chesterfield. You know, we always take that and compare it to a local dealer. We compared that with Max Ford. They came in at a price of $28,007. The difference of both of them delivered, because there is a delivery charge for the Luke Foos of $350. The difference between the two bids would be $422. We are recommending going to Max Ford, purchasing it for $28,007. This vehicle is equipped just like our vehicles have been purchased for probably about the last 8 years. We did go from the Crown Vic to the SUV and the sedan, but always the same equipment. Keep in mind, we're working towards getting a K-9 program. This will be a vehicle for that K-9 program. We recommend approval. I'll entertain any questions.
Questions from the board?
I would move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Dahlman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Council Bill 009 becomes Resolution R007. Council Bill 010.
Council Bill 010 is a resolution to accept amendments to the City of Harrisonville Personnel Manual Technology Policy.
Okay, so as my staff report reflects, this particular policy has been brought to me by Director Francis. This is going to have bearing on the radios that are used. There are departments within City Hall that are tuned into the same frequency as the police department and the ambulance department. And this policy is to reiterate that they can't share what they hear. I plan on putting this under the technology policy part of our personnel manual. And there will be, I believe, Lieutenant Prindle will conduct the security awareness training for all of our employees. And once this has been approved, I will work on getting those employees set up for the training. Is there any questions?
Seeing none,
Good idea.
entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson and a second from Alderman Long. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 010 becomes Resolution R008. Council Bill 011.
Council Bill 011 is an ordinance providing for the submission of a proposal to discontinue application and collection of local sales tax on titling of motor vehicles, trailers, boats, and outboard motors that were purchased from a source other than a licensed Missouri dealer to the qualified voters of the city for their approval at the general election called and to be held in the city of Harrisonville, Missouri on the 5th of April, 2016. First reading of Council Bill 011.
Good evening, Marcella.
Good evening, Board. As presented at the January 4th work session, this is just calling for the vote of the qualified voters to discontinue, the sales tax as outlined, which makes it kind of hard because you don't want to discontinue it, you want to continue it. I just want to clarify that we only lose a portion of our total sales tax that we collect every year, and that averages about $110,000 per year in total collection. And so based on our projections, it's about a $20,000 to $25,000 loss if you use the Department of Revenue's 20% projections. We think ours may be more than that because of the proximity to the Kansas state line. And so, but we have no way of knowing exactly how much that would be. Talking to Grandview and Belton, they feel like they're in the same position, that they could lose more because of the proximity to state line. People would be enticed to save that money and run across the state line to purchase a vehicle. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions. Do ask that you waive the rules and consider on the first reading, because this has to be certified to the election board with ballots by the city clerk on the 26th.
I got a question. I
Use
know,
your mic.
sorry, thought my mouth was loud enough. Anyways, I thought when we talked about this the last time, Josh was the one, I think, that brought it up about talking with other cities. I know you just mentioned a couple, but is that pretty much who all you reached out to, or is that all who come back to you?
That's basically who come back to me. I talked to Pleasant Hill and Belton, Greenwood. So Belton is putting it on the ballot in April. Pleasant Hill is planning to put it on the ballot in April. Raymore is kind of sizing in with some of the Eastern Jackson County group, which I think is also pushing for a use tax. And so because they're pushing for the use tax along with this, they're choosing to use the August ballot to do that. I wouldn't recommend that, because if this does fail, that gives us an opportunity to go back to August, and we are not looking for the use tax. I don't know that that's an option that we want to entertain right now. So that's, that was kind of the feedback that I received.
So the total, if I remember right, the total, I could be wrong, but I thought you said 5 the last time whenever you brought this to us on January 4th or whatever. Wasn't it 5 that was gonna put it on April?
Yes, that's what I had originally thought, that there was gonna be 5 of them, but when I talked to Greenwood and Raymore,
So there's more,
they're going to August, so.
okay.
And I didn't talk to Drexel. I know that there's some of the smaller towns that has been talking to the city clerks, and I didn't get responses from them at this point, so.
So there's a possibility of more of them.
Okay, thank you.
At the same time.
This is what we had our work session on, so any more questions, maybe let.
Can I interject something?
Sure.
And regarding the work session, when I did my notes for that work session, I put in there that it was $110,000 that we were gonna lose that on, and she clarified that. So I will be going into my work session notes and just making that change, making a note about it, but I wanted to make sure that I let the board know before that was done.
The way this reads, to me, is that we're just doing away with that sales tax, right?
If they vote yes.
If they vote yes,
They do away with the sales tax.
they do away with the sales tax
If they vote-
from the out-of-state and individual people.
If they vote no, they're saying they're voting to keep it, and that allows, per state, that allows you to keep it because the voters have said yes, you can keep it.
Right. Because the question says, do you want to discontinue want a no vote, you don't want a yes vote. You know, and that's, our state legislation outlined that. Very specifically, Mr. Mauer said, this is specific to state statute, we don't have any control over making any changes to that, because of what has been passed.
The way those two paragraphs are written about shall the city of Harrisonville, when approval of this measure will result in, that is straight out of the statute. The legislature said you must use this exact language, save the name of the city. It's, don't ask me why.
Yeah, but they promise all sorts of things that aren't there.
True to that, but that is right in the statute, we checked,
Right.
so.
And this ordinance was pulled directly off of the MML website as a sample ordinance that they're recommending that all the cities use, and so.
Well, my feeling is that everyone's gonna look at this and say, oh, wow, I can save some money. I'm going, yeah, I'm for that.
They might. We don't want them to do that, but they might.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to suspend the ruling and move Council Bill 011 to the second reading.
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Milner.
Second.
I have a second. Second from Alderman Stafford.
Alderman Dickerson?
Nay, oh, yes.
Okay,
Come on,
Dahlman.
vote yes for once, okay,
I
come
gotta
on.
save that.
Alderman Dahlman?
Yes.
Alderman Stoll?
Absent.
Absent. Alderman Stafford?
Yes.
Alderman Bowman?
Aye.
Alderman Long?
Aye.
Alderman Milner?
Aye.
Alderman Coburn?
Yes.
Second reading, please.
Council Bill 011 is an ordinance approved providing for the submission of a proposal to discontinue application and collection of the local sales tax on the titling of motor vehicles, trailers, boats, and outboard motors that were purchased from a source other than a licensed Missouri dealer to the qualified voters of for the city for their approval at the general election called and to be held in the city of Harrisonville, Missouri on March 5th, April 2016. I'm sorry, on the 5th of April 2016.
Alderman Stafford?
Yes.
Alderman Long?
Yeah.
Alderman Stoll? Absent. Alderman Bowman?
Aye.
Alderman Milner?
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson?
Nay.
Alderman Coburn?
Yes.
Alderman Dahlman?
Aye.
And Council Bill 011 becomes ordinance 03350. Council Bill 012.
Council 012 is an ordinance amending Chapter 610 peddlers of the City of Harrisonville Code of Ordinances. First reading, Council Bill 012.
Back in 2011, when we had some change in duties within the city clerk's office, this particular duty went over to the police department. They graciously accepted to take care of this because part of the peddler's process was for them to go over there. I've been working with Stacy Jennings and Lieutenant Osterberg on this, on updating the change to the peddler's permits. This is going to give them, it's going to be easier, it's going to be more streamlined, but due to some changes, the only background checks that can be done are local, is that correct? So whereas when they came in before and they were out of town, we did background checks, but we're no longer able to do that through the police department. So that's why we trying to downsize it a little bit and make it just, like I said, a little easier to work with.
So essentially, you're reducing staff's workload, or making it easier.
It's gonna make it easier. I mean, and we only had 7 permits that were issued this past year. But everything will still be taken care of over at the police department. You know, some of the, I've provided the red line version. Are there any questions in regards to any of the changes that I have provided?
I mean, I guess my only question is if we are only now being able to do a local background check, are we comfortable with, I mean,
That's our
comfortable with
only
that?
option.
Okay.
The old ordinance had a lot of things in there we weren't allowed to do. So we're trying to clean it up to where It's showing what we can do.
Okay.
The only background checks we can do are for employment purposes, and these aren't our employees.
So, this is really a compliance issue we're trying to clean up, yeah?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
No, and it makes it, I mean, like Kim said, this could make the process a little more efficient, which, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I mean, if we can't do any further background checks, there's no sense in.
And having all of that information. And,
Right.
and at one point in time, we required a surety bond, and we're removing that also.
Further questions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to suspend the ruling and move Council Bill 012 to the second reading.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Stafford and a second from Alderman Long.
Alderman Stoll? Absent. Alderman Coburn?
Aye.
Alderman Long?
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson?
Aye.
Alderman Dahlman?
Aye.
Alderman Bowman?
Aye.
Alderman Milner?
Aye.
Alderman Stafford?
Aye.
Second reading, please.
Council Bill 012 is an ordinance amending Chapter 610 Peddlers of the City of Harrisonville Code of Ordinances, Second reading, Council Bill 012.
Alderman Dahlman?
Aye.
Alderman Stoll? Absent. Alderman Bowman?
Aye.
Alderman Coburn?
Aye.
Alderman Milner?
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson?
Aye.
Alderman Long?
Aye.
Alderman Stafford?
Aye.
And Council Bill 012 becomes ordinance 03351. February 15th is a holiday. Oh, do you want to cover this, or would you like me?
You were going,
Well, the discussion that we need to have is, do we want to reschedule this meeting for another night? Or do we want to just wait until the first meeting in March? I'm not sure what we have coming down the pipe on the sewer treatment plant. If Jerry gets some updates on that, that's something that I don't think we will wait too long if we're going to get updates on. So, just entertain suggestions, ideas.
we would have a regular meeting February the 1st, and then our meeting in March would be March the 7th. So if we didn't have that second meeting, it would be 5 weeks in between meetings, and as the mayor suggested, there may be some items that come up, so.
So we have the options of doing February 16th or the following Monday, February 22nd.
That would still leave us then 2 weeks till the next meeting, so, because there happens to be 5 Mondays in this February.
And does staff have a preference?
No.
You want to move it till the 22nd?
We don't really have a preference, just, need a decision
Okay.
for scheduling if we have to have hearings or anything like that. We need to just know when we're going to be telling people when it might be.
Do we want to have a tentative plan to have on one of those dates, and if we have nothing pressing come up, I mean, I'm guessing, of course, that there'll be something that would come up, so at least have it scheduled, but if something comes down, we could.
So you want to schedule it on the 22nd?
Works for me. Let's do it.
That'd be the following Monday. I see no issue with that. I think that would be.
Second that.
So,
I'll make that motion then. You second it?
all right. I
Have a
had a second
second?
before the
Punch
motion.
backwards, if that's okay.
Yeah, well,
It's teamwork.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Coburn to tentatively schedule a meeting for the 22nd of February. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are tentatively scheduled for the 22nd. Alderman and committee reports. Alderman Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My husband and I had the opportunity to attend the employee recognition banquet last Thursday evening, and I just must say that we are incredibly impressed with the staff that we have. We are surrounded by knowledgeable, committed people that care about this city, and I just want to publicly state that I'm very proud of them and very grateful for what they do for us.
Very good. Alderman Dahlman.
I'll ditto that. It was a nice presentation, and man, the years of service, wow.
That's incredible.
So, again, my hat's off to the staff on all y'all do. It was a great dinner.
Alderman Alderman Coburn.
Ditto, and get ready for the snow, it's coming.
Alderman Miller.
Yeah, I have to agree with Heather. It's always a fun evening. And in case you people don't know that, we've got some really competitive staff members when it comes to bingo. They want to win. But it was amazing to me to look over the amount of years some of the staff has been with our city. And it says a lot about this community.
Alderman Dickerson.
Just congratulations to Rodney
Oh, yeah.
for the year, and Kim got a recognition on,
Yep.
what was that, we voted on last meeting.
15 years.
15 years.
That's it, I'm gonna shut up.
Alderman Long.
Nothing to add, I'm good.
Alderman Stafford.
I know, tonight we had an issue that we had some definitely different opinions on, and some cited things, people thought differently, and I just want everybody here to take a second, step back and be proud of what you did tonight, because we are pretty dysfunctional for the most part, and as it may have been unorthodox in the manner we got it, we found some middle ground, and we got something accomplished that I think everybody can live with, so, just be proud of what you did.
Very good. Mr. Tholen.
I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the elected officials for their support of the staff and showing up at the dinner and providing for that, and recognizing our employees for the work that they do during the year and during their whole careers. It's, as many of the members have already stated, it is a career, it's not just a job for a lot of people, and they dedicate themselves to the community, and that recognition goes a long way to help them make some of those days a little easier to go through. And so, again, I wanted to thank the board for that. Also, a reminder, tomorrow is the last day for candidate filing. I think everybody up here probably already knows that, but just thought I'd let everybody know. So tomorrow, I think at 5 o'clock is the closing of candidate filing. We haven't had any particular action here in the last few weeks.
I had a gentleman come in today,
Oh, okay,
and so we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Very good.
all right. That's all I have, sir.
All right. I, of course, had the privilege of attending the employee appreciation dinner. It was a very good night. The bingo was quite fun to hear the oohs and ahs, and because they got close to their numbers, and it seemed like everybody had a good time. There is a lot of great staff here. I congratulate all the winners, the Department of the Year and Employee of the Year, and then also have a the Parks Department was our Department of the Year, and Rodney Jacobs was the Employee of the Year, and we have a Steve Rauscher Award, which, could you remind me again?
April Clark.
Well, I know who was the recipient, April Clark, but it is a award for leadership.
Leadership.
Yes.
Steve Russell.
Leadership Award, so April Clark was the recipient of that, so all, I believe, very deserving. I think there's a lot of others out there too. It's not hard to look around and find good employees. So, very enjoyable night, glad that we could do that. I really have nothing further to add at this point. I am happy that we got through things tonight. Glad to see we got the ambulance approved. That's something that is very important. We need to be sure that staff has the right equipment to do their job. So I think we did a good thing getting all that through tonight. So media looks like has exited stage left tonight. So we will skip past that. And Morris,
I move that the Board of Aldermen go into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the revised statutes of Missouri. Section 610.0211 to discuss legal actions and any confidential or privileged communication between the city and its attorney. Section 610.0212 to discuss real estate transactions, and Section 610.0213 to discuss personnel matters.
Alderman Bowman?
Aye.
Alderman Dahlman?
need a second. We'll need a second.
Oh, yes.
Need a second. Second from Alderman Long.
Okay, Alderman Bowman? Aye. Alderman Dahlman? Aye. Alderman Coburn?
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson.
Aye.
Alderman Long.
Aye.
Alderman Stoll absent. Alderman Stafford.
Aye.
And we are adjourned to executive session. Thank you, everyone.